We started with learning about versioning. As APIs evolve over time, different versions of that API start to coexist, because you don't want to break existing consumers that might use an older version. That leads to versioning strategies for APIs. Commonly used are URI versioning, via URI segments or query string, custom headers, or versioned media types. We learned how to implement it using Microsoft's default approach via the Microsoft.ASP.NET Core.MVC.versioning package. After that, we looked into documenting your API. This is important, not only for public APIs but also for internal APIs, as other teams in your company will want to know how to integrate with your API. It all starts from an OpenAPI specification. That's a standardized description of your API. From that specification, documentation UI, a web app for example, can be generated. That's what Swagger UI does, and that's what we see when we navigate to the Swagger endpoint. In the default ASP.NET Core API template, this is implemented via swashbuckle.ASP.NET Core. We learned how to improve the default documentation. We learned that data annotations are taken into account. We learned how to incorporate XML comments and how to improve the documentation with information regarding the return status codes and authentication. The more specific you can be, the better. After all, this documentation is the first thing people who want to integrate with your API will see. In case you have a question, don't hesitate to ask it on the Discussions tab or just send me a message on Twitter. Also, please consider rating the course. It gives us authors some feedback on whether we're doing this right or not. And with that, I have just one more thing to say before I go. You're ready to be awesome.